Thank you, everyone. And first time in Poland, first of all, really great place, loving it. And I had this chance to give this talk. It's like Philip said, it's a bonus one. It's not like fully Rust related, but Rust is just part of my journey, so it's gonna be Rust related anyways. And I hope there will be some tips and tricks that you can um, take from this talk. And if you're doing open source or not, whatever. Just have fun with the talk, okay? All right. So I'd like to give a disclaimer first of all. I don't know what this means. This talk is about sustainable open source, but I mean, I'm still trying to figure it out. I haven't figured it out yet. This talk is just gonna be my experience, what I'm doing, and what has worked for me. So yeah. Who am I? I make open source software. I create some content on the internet. I have some hobbies. You can just insert whatever there. I'm probably doing that. And you can just get more info about me on my website or this website, orhun.weir.one. This is a pretty cool project, which is like a link tree, but like a bit of a federated social link tree or something like that. So check this one out if you are curious. And yeah, so while we are talking about success in open source or making open source sustainable, I want to define three cornerstones of open source, which really helped me to get to a certain point in my open source career. And I just made this up, but I think they're really helpful. The first one is consistency, second one is collaboration, and the third one is creativity. So I believe that you should focus on these if you want to get successful or like make a living from open source. So I'm not going to explain these here, but I'm going to actually put these blocks throughout the slides. So if you see, for example, a enchanted bedrock, you'll understand that that's about consistency. Enchanted diamond is collaboration, and enchanted melon is just creativity, because why not? So yeah, you'll see those blocks throughout the slides, and yeah, they will explain themselves in my story, and yeah, that's that. So I'm gonna give you a little bit of a history about myself, how it all started, how did I get into this mess, as Arthur said in his talk. We gotta go back in time to understand why am I here, first of all. Well, not this far, but maybe this far. So during high school times, I was just programming for fun and creating some fun projects, and that was just my hobby. I was like creating these GUI tools using Python, or like these Android apps, and they were just very random because I just wanted to create them. And each time I was trying to follow a theme, or like I was trying to give a vibe to each project. So for example, this one, I just wanted to create a GUI with Python because I just wanted to, and I just want to learn that. Then I never went back, but yeah, I did that. I learned that and just moved on. This one, just an Android app, and I used Kepler as a logo because why not? I just wanted to do it. And this is really the power of open source, because you're just free to do whatever, and I was just using that to create just fun projects. And over time, I was actually pushing stuff to GitHub, just like these type of little scripts, some JavaScript, and then I was just like putting them on GitHub so that I can go there and like copy that again and just use it in my app or whatever. Just very like small small repos and just very practical usage of GitHub. Because before that, I was just putting everything on my hard drive. I had just backups of the projects as just copies of the directories, like project one underscore backup and backup two and stuff like that. I didn't even know Git, so I was just like doing that. Then I just started pushing stuff to GitHub, like very small repos, and over time this happened. Well, how this happened? Because I mean, I started out as like a very small open source. Not even like open source. I was just like wanted to use GitHub for my backup purposes. But as I went on, I created like more repos, and then I realized, okay, this is a platform where I can contribute to other projects as well. So why am I not doing that? So I started doing that, and then like this is from last year. I am apparently very good as like universally. I'm not sure. Like there are some other stats here and so on, but I didn't even realize this happening because I was just like wanted to create stuff and build stuff and contribute. And the key takeaway here is that you can also like do this, because I mean I didn't start out as like aiming for this a chart. I just wanted to build things, and over time it happens. Some people are asking me about this green contribution graph a lot, so that's the story behind it. I just like to build things basically. So so you know how I started. Well, what happened in the journey, and what did I do right and what did I do wrong? Well, when I got started, I was not even using Linux, but there were a lot of Linux users around me, and they were like, "You gotta use Arch, by the way. It's great. It's hard to install, but you gotta use it." And I'm like, "Well, if it's what, like, why?" And then I tried it out, and yeah, I mean, I installed it once, and I learned a bunch of things about Linux and Arch Linux, and then I just got stuck with it because it was, first of all, a good challenge to force myself to use Linux, and then I just liked the efficiency. It was just super fast to do everything in there. I liked the package manager and everything. It was just great. So Arch Linux played a big role in my journey. And then people were saying, "Hey, you gotta use Rust because it's great and it's difficult to learn." And I'm like, again? So just started using Rust at 2019. Just created this project. This is my initial commit, and yeah, it was a TUI project. And yeah, I just got stuck with it because I was just language hopping until that point. I was just using Java, Python, Go, C, and stuff like that to build various projects. And then I switched to Rust, and I just got stuck with it because it's a great language. So that was that. And I published my first ever Rust project, and I wrote something like this in this blog post. I said, "The best way of learning something is creating a project that solves a problem, depending on your needs, and a new tech stack increases." Well, it's a long sentence. There was no ChatGPT back then. I don't know how I came up with that. So what I'm saying here is basically, if you're learning something, you gotta just add another thing on top of it. You can add another thing on top of the other new thing to maximize your learning and just push yourself even further. And that's what I did with Rust. I wanted to build a TUI application, a terminal user interface, because I did the same in other languages, but I didn't know much about them. So I did that and published my first project. You can read more about this in the blog post. And over time, I was using Arch and using Rust. So at some point, I wanted to combine them. So I was thinking of contributing back to Arch Linux at some point. So I decided to package the Rust tools for Arch Linux. And I gave a talk about this at ArchConf 2020. This was an online event, COVID times. So I did that to, again, maximize my learning, because I was just combining these two things that I'm not super familiar with. And I was just surrounding myself with people that are knowledgeable so that I can learn from them and kind of push myself even further. You might be asking, are you crazy? What are you doing? Why, right? I mean, you can just write something else, and you don't have to learn everything. You don't have to push yourself harder, right? Well, my motivation for that is explained in this blog post which I wrote, and this is some term that I came up with. So grindset means grinding mindset, and open source grindset is basically says that you got to take your time with whatever you're doing. You got to follow the rabbit holes because they are super useful for learning new things. You got to read and learn as much as you can, and every contribution is a contribution regardless of its size. I think the most important point here is you gotta follow the rabbit holes, because at the end you'll learn something new that you didn't know, or you're gonna learn something completely unrelated, but that will be useful at some point. So that was what I was doing with all these other projects, and yeah, I explained this in this blog post. At some point there was a collaboration opportunity with other people. So this is the project that I mentioned, the TUI-RS project, and I was depending on this library on my 3 different projects, and it played a big part in my open source projects and career as well. So I was really sad to see that it was going unmaintained, and this is the issue that mentions that the author basically says that he doesn't have time, or he cannot maintain it no longer, and so on. So I was pinged in this issue by other guys, and they said, hey, let's do something about this, right? We don't want this library to go unmaintained. This is a great library, and so on. So I basically joined the discussion in this issue because I was highly dependent on this project. So I said, works for me, it's a good idea. Well, when you add a comment to open source repo to feel like a contributor, well, it happens, everyone does that before. So yeah, we basically decided to do something about it with the other people, and we wanted to create a temporary fork of TUI-RS just to keep the development going, and we needed to act quick because there were a lot of interest towards this library, and everyone started to create their own fork. We wanted a central place for development for this crate. So we created a Discord, we had some meetings, and we were just thinking, what are we gonna do, what's next? So we did some stuff over time. We transferred the PRs and added some new features and so on. So over time, there were some discussions about rebranding the project. So we came up with somebody, which I still don't know who, came up with the name Ratatouille, and there was a little bit of a poll for the logo, and these are the options. People just designed these logos, and we picked this one. So we were like, okay, we are a different project now, because the original project is not giving us we originally planned to upstream our changes, but there were no activity on the original repo. So we were like, okay, we are a different project then at this point, because there are people already using this new fork. So we kind of rebranded to something called Ratatouille. And at some point, the original repo was archived, so we were the successor. I'd like to thank Florian for creating TUI-RS, though it's just a great library, and it wasn't possible without him. So yeah, in my open source journey, Ratatouille played, I think, the biggest role, because now this is the biggest Rust library when it comes to building terminal user interfaces. And I'm going to talk about this in my keynote today, and it's going to be entirely terminal and Rust focused, so stay tuned for that. And we have these screenshots are old, by the way, but we have, I think, 5 million downloads. I don't know. We have 12K stars and stuff like that. So it's a really big project used by many other Rust tools and companies. So yeah. Well, how did it get so big then? Well, I started posting about Ratatouille on my socials, and I think that this really affected the growth of the project and visibility. What I was doing is I basically came up with this format on my socials, like Twitter and Mastodon and so on. So what I'm doing here is basically this format is I say something catchy about the project. I say which project it is, what does it do. I always put this line where I say written in Rust, because people like to see that, and also the link to the project. and some visuals. So I was just posting Ratatouille stuff like in this format on my socials, and people were like, okay, this is interesting. Well, what is this library and so on. So I consistently posted these tools built with Ratatouille, also other libraries or anything related to Ratatouille at all on my socials, and created some other social accounts for Ratatouille. And I think it really helped us to get more visibility and also inspire people and motivate people to build their own dream TUI tools. And on the side, I was also posting these type of posts where I, let's say, find a new tool during my rabbit hole discoveries. I just like discovered this thing and just like put it in the same format and with some visuals and just post it on social. So I've been doing that for I think 2 years now. I'm still doing it just consistently, and I'm trying to like keep it very interesting so that if you follow me, you get these type of weird and not weird, but like fun and interesting tools on your feed. So I'm not a bot, by the way. I just manually type these. Okay, I don't generate them. So yeah, some people think that I'm just botting these, but no. And also Twitter, I was just posting memes, and that's the only way to go big on Twitter. Yeah, sorry, but if you post something useful, that won't work these days. You just gotta post memes all day, and that's how I don't recommend using Twitter if you're doing open source and if you're trying to like promote your stuff. I don't know what happened to the slides, but yeah. So that's that. Just gonna like stare at each other while waiting for the slides to come back. Probably. Okay. Just sleeping like me.
Okay for you?
Yeah, I mean, go ahead. Sure.
Okay, so we have questions from Slido. One is, did you get stuck with Arch because you are afraid of having to reinstall it?
Yeah, I don't know how to install Arch, to be honest. Right now, if something goes wrong, I need to relearn it. I wrote a small gist to just have all the steps, but I mean, yeah, it's fine though. It's not hard. It's hard.
Okay, since you started the Rust journey, have you checked other languages and that you would consider if you could start over?
So I have checked Zig because that has some hype. I think it was a year ago I checked it. Like I have some blog series about Zig, so I'm also learning Zig. I tried it out, but I mean, I don't. As of now, I don't see much point going away from Rust. So, yeah.
And are you still Arch Linux package maintainer?
Hell yeah! I'm just maintaining a lot of packages these days, around 300.
Nice. And last question, and actually we have slides back, so maybe we can leave this question and you can continue. Sorry for the technical issues.
No worries. It was fun. So another fun thing about socials is LinkedIn. I know y'all are just cringing inside right now, but LinkedIn is actually a good way to promote your open source project. I mean, I have this page for Ratatouille on LinkedIn. It has 2K followers for some reason. We have some employees, just me. And we have, I mean, last year we had like 200K impressions in there, a lot of reactions, comments, and stuff. And I mean, it's LinkedIn, so I'm thinking the reason why this happened is because people on LinkedIn are just very bored and they just wanted to see something interesting. So I kind of like fill that gap by just posting some interesting stuff there. Shout out to my LinkedIn homies. So yeah, I mean, consider LinkedIn if you want to like promote some open source project. And these are my stats from last year on my own LinkedIn profile. I mean, I had 2 million impressions, and like I reached almost 2,000 members on LinkedIn. I don't know. I never like see some other people talking about LinkedIn when it comes to promotion, but it's actually a good platform. And I'm also doing a bunch of other stuff for gaining more visibility. I am appearing on podcasts, doing these lightning talks, writing blog posts, other conferences, and I'm trying out this vlog type of format these days, where I just like kind of document my travel and have like a short, short video about it and so on. I don't know. I think I won't keep doing this, but let me know if you like it. And also live streaming as well. I've been doing these type of fun live streams where I do one push-up for every Rust compiler. And I don't know, learning Golang with Marco, my friend. I don't know, program language tier list. This was pretty good because it's super controversial. I mean, I have Holy C and assembly and Rust at C tier. I triggered a lot of people on LinkedIn. It's great. And just like, I don't know, fun stuff. I like to live stream this fun stuff. Like I've been learning Holy C, some oil painting. But I mean, I'm not doing these type of stunts all the time, just to be clear. I'm also like doing the typical maintenance, like open source maintenance and live coding Rust stuff as well. These are just like the extreme ones that I wanted to put here. And there's like a blog post about why I started live streaming. All right. Well, what are the challenges when it comes to doing all of these, right? Well, the biggest challenge is open source is not funded. So if you're doing all of these things and you're expecting to become a millionaire, that's not very realistic. So yeah, that's the biggest challenge, I think. I have tried GitHub sponsors, Buy Me a Coffee as platforms for donations, and they are doing okay. People are just supporting. I really appreciate it. And I've been trying out a new way of actually funding my work, and I'm gonna kind of announce it today. But these two are just the ones that I tried so far. And I'd like to take a brief moment to thank my sponsors. I have 42 sponsors. What a magical number. If you want to join them, well, don't sponsor me because I just want 42 sponsors, because don't like break this number, but if you want, we can go to 69 with the help of you. So I would appreciate that. And I have these tweets or like these posts that kind of summarize my view about another big challenge in open source. Which is there's always something to do. Like you cannot just like finish something because there will be some feature requests, some maintenance work. Tomorrow you just wake up and there's like a security vulnerability which affected you. You could just bump this dependency, and this dependency has a incompatibility issue with another dependency. So you got to rewrite your entire whatever. You get it, right? There's like endless things to do, and sometimes I just find myself working on an open source project so that I can have time to work on another open source project over the weekend. Which is like, yeah, I mean, it's hard to make time for everything, especially when you are not really just being supported and motivated with external things such as donations and so on. So yeah, so I have asked around in the communities and asked some friends about what they think about the sustainable open source, and I'll just like to share their take with you. First one, Predrag. Does any of you know Cargo Summer Checks, the tool? So Predrag, the author of that brilliant tool, he says that sustainable open source, it should either replace a regular job or it doesn't burn you out while you work on a regular job. And to get some support, you gotta find companies and you gotta just convert them to funders at some point. Visibility helps, social media and so on helps, but you basically need meetings for the decision makers. OSS grants, I think he tried them, but he says too much overhead, too little money. To cope with burnout, you should be careful about merging other people's contributions, because at some point you might end up with more work than you signed up for. So if you have limited time or limited bandwidth to work on something, just be honest and say, hey, I cannot merge this, or yeah, I cannot work on this, not in scope, and so on. So these are, I think, very good tips. Next, Marco Yeni. You guys know Release Please, the Rust release automation tool. He is the creator of that, also works at Rust Foundation. He says enough maintainers with time and resources are needed for a sustainable open source, and maintainability is always a priority. He also says that if you don't have a bandwidth to work on something, you can just like say that to people. You gotta take breaks, and you shouldn't feel bad because you are not working on your open source project, because it's an open source project, and it should be fine, right? So yeah, you gotta develop hobbies outside of open source, playing instruments and so on, and do some exercise. Also, very important, he recommends a standing desk. How many of you actually use a standing desk here? Just curious. Okay, great. So yeah, thanks Marco for the contribution. All right, Erland, he created the Weird.one website which I mentioned. He's just very visionary guy. He's just doing a lot of community work in the open source as well. He says that healthy developers create sustainable projects, and at some point in your open source project, if it goes big, you gotta ask yourself, who do we serve, why, and at what cost? And you gotta just find answer to those questions before you actually dive into making this a full-time thing for you, basically. To manage, to cope with burnout, you gotta just manage your expectations. So I guess it's all about being self-aware that maybe you cannot handle some things. You should just accept that, and don't push yourself too hard. And sometimes regular introspection can help to avoid burnout before it happens. So at some point in your project, you realize, well, this is going well. If I do that, more people will use it. But does it worth it, or do I have the capacity to maintain that, and so on? So you gotta be just constantly asking yourself these questions, and it will, I think, help with avoiding burnout. All right, my take on burnout is it's okay to take a day off. You don't need to write code every day, but just know that I'll be one day ahead of you. So, all right, so what's next for me, and basically what am I going to do next, right? Because I'm like constantly trying to make this thing sustainable for myself. Well, I actually created a community for like-minded people. So I've been doing a lot of other things, right? Not just coding and so on. So the Grindhouse is a creator outlet, which means we just want the creators or just the grinders. We wanted to build something, not just software, but maybe music, or maybe you're doing something else. We just want to like have you among us to share the progress with each other and so on. Oh no, I just got a message. All right, and one of the reasons why I wanted to create this community is because I lost a lot of weight. This is from last year, and during those times I was like, okay, I need to share my progress with people and just get some feedback, or maybe I can inspire more people if I have a community where everyone shares their progress and we can just motivate each other and so on. So that was one of the reasons, because I was grinding so hard. And we have these members now. You can just appear in the website by commenting on one of the issues on GitHub. The mission is to inspire you to follow your dreams. And and you can just like join us on Discord. We just mainly on Discord. This is the QR code if anyone's scanning. So yeah, we have different channels for different stuff. So if you're making music, which I also do, you can just share your stuff there. Everyone, okay, somebody joined. All right, maybe I should have just... Guys, give me a sec. All right, just disable notifications. So so I'm basically sharing my gym progress or like my music progress and also some projects. And so we're just having fun there and sharing the grind with each other. So yeah. And before you ask, isn't grinding a harmful thing and unsustainable? Yes, but this is about being mindful about grinding. So being grindful, and we just wanted to like be aware of these risks, and we just kind of using grinding as a term where we are just aware of everything, but we wanted to grind regardless. And like there's some memes, you'll get the memes if you join, but like this is not like, you know, this is not a path to burnout or like tunnel vision or anything like that. It's just like a community. So there's like a slight like I don't know, it's kind of ironic. So yeah. And also the strategy, the third strategy that I'm trying out is selling merch actually. So we have this website grindhouse.dev, which you can also buy some merch to support these projects. So I have these example products over here, Ratatouille t-shirt, which I'm wearing right now, some other products as well. And the idea is actually not just support this community or Ratatouille, but also other projects such as Sniffnet. Sniffnet joined us recently. This is a network monitoring tool written in Rust. So they reached out and they said, hey, let's print some t-shirts and do stuff. So I was like, okay, yeah, sure. So we made it happen. So now like you can support multiple projects on this website, and there isn't a transparent progress of transferring funds, but I'm working on that so that if you buy something for Sniffnet, the revenue goes there, and same for Ratatouille as well. So I'm just trying out this new thing where you can actually get a physical product and kind of support the project at the same time. So this is the new thing that I'm trying out. And yeah, the merch looks like this. The creator of Sniffnet just bought a bunch of things, and he says that they're looking good, they're good quality, and so on. So there's actually a little bit of a contradiction in my mind about selling merch and just sponsoring a project on GitHub sponsors. So I just want to share that real quick with you. So I think if you sponsor a project on GitHub, that creates so this is more like continuous, if that makes sense. But if you buy something, you get it, and then the support ends there, unless you wear it every day wherever you go, you know. But I mean, I think those things are a bit different. So I'm trying to like figure this out still in my mind, and I would appreciate some feedback from you as well. If this thing does make sense for you, or would you buy merch and so on? Because I'm still experimenting. I'm not like trying to like the goal of this talk is not to sell merch here. I'm just like trying to find different ways of making open source sustainable. And this was one of my ideas, so I just made it into reality. But some feedback would be really appreciated. So yeah, this is my new grind, by the way. I bought this guitar. I've been playing many years ago, and these days I'm playing again. So you might see me grinding about this in the future, and it's really fun. So I just want to share that. And if you have a grind, I would be happy to hear that as well. So yeah, that's all, everybody. Thanks for listening.
Thank you very much. And we have a few more questions. So the most upvoted right now is how much time do you spend contributing to open source per day approximately? Because the stars are white man.
My life, I guess, I don't know. Like I don't have any metrics for that, but I mean these days I just like open up my emails, and there are like a bunch of things to do. So I basically go at them, and at some point I was like, I'm basically working on open source full time some days. So like, I don't know, 8 hours a day. So like I said, since there are like many different projects, there's always something to do, and I really enjoy working on it. So yeah.
And next one is about how financials, but I think it was you already answered it. It was asked probably before you make during the presentation, but you make comment on that.
Yes, this question, right? Are there
Yes.
any companies?
In what way such open source contributions benefit to you financially?
So usually the sponsors or people who sponsor me are just open source maintainers themselves. So it doesn't really make sense, so to speak. So they send me $5 and I check out their profile. So they are doing great work. So I send the $5 back to them. So we make zero revenue. So that's usually how it goes with my sponsors. I mean, if you look at my profile, I'm just sponsoring. At some point, I was sponsoring more people than people sponsoring me. So yeah, I mean, there are not much companies. There's little startups here and there, but I would appreciate some companies sponsoring me. Why not?
Why is Holy C much better than Rust? Be blessed, by the way.
I mean, isn't it obvious? Because Mr. God wanted Holy C, not Rust. Come on.
Do you have the other social platforms have a chance for generating actual technical following, or Twitter is still the only place?
I think Twitter is not the place anymore, but Mastodon and Blue Sky are just great these days because most of the people that I know doing open source and writing Rust, they just move to Mastodon or Blue Sky. So yeah, LinkedIn, which you don't have to, but it's good, like I said, or Blue Sky or Mastodon.
Okay, and two last questions. Have you ever felt pressured by users desperately wanting some feature in your open source project?
Yes, I mean, it happens. I try to ignore them, doing my best. But I mean, yeah, I mean, they just pinging me and stuff like that. It's fine though. Like, I get it. Okay, I always like promise to myself that I will work on it one day, but I never do it. And they kind of realize that. But I mean, it's a mutual thing. We just kind of like they're pushing me, and I'm like ignoring, and then like it happens. Okay, it's open source. It's fine.
And last one, when is run ST Wayland support coming?
Never, probably, because I'm not using Wayland. It's very hard to do. But I mean, feel free to implement it. I would appreciate your contribution, man. Thank you.